Welcome to another edition of the Dementia Care Partner Talk Show. Now, here's dementia care expert Teepa Snow and your host, Greg Phelps.
Hello and welcome to the Dementia Care Partners podcast. I'm your host, Greg Phelps, and joining me once again is dementia care expert Teepa Snow. And Teepa, both you and Amelia, who produces our podcast, recently experienced a hurricane close by. And that had me wondering, what happens to persons living with dementia during any sort of a disaster? I mean, we plan for a lot of things when it comes to seniors, but disasters, what did you do? Did you put everybody in buses? I mean, sort of how do we deal with this?
Well, it really is complicated. What was interesting, not too long ago, I took time. We have a program once a month. It's called Let's Talk. And it's where I get together with a group of the people that are living with dementia called our core team and friends. And we all come together and we talk about topics. And one that we picked was disasters and being prepared. And what does that mean for you? And the original question I asked is, would you evacuate or not? And a lot of folks were like, so here's what I have. I have a flashlight. I double check the batteries. I have a little generator because I have a CPAP machine. I have a waterproof case, fireproof, waterproof case that I have all my documents in, including my healthcare power of attorney directive, all those things. And I also then have I store a set of information about my medicines, and it says, get all your medicines now and put them here. And that wasn't one or two people. We had like 20 some people on, and at least 15 of them had pre-planned what they would do if they were in an emergency situation, and had actually probably better plans in place than people without dementia. And it was interesting. Yeah. And what was really interesting is how many people were making plans to stay put because of their pets. They were willing to risk, because if their pets couldn't go, and for some of them, they knew they would not be able to gather up their pets because they didn't have the ability to get the pet to cooperate with them. Usually it took a third party. If their third party wasn't around, they'd stay. But they had made arrangements as much as they could, and they were pretty skillful. They had, somebody had a flashlight that goes around your neck so you don't have to tie your hands up because they need their hands for the walker. I mean, people had thought through a lot of things that I don't know that a lot of people without dementia think through. But I would say on the other side, we had people who were like, I don't know. I guess my wife would have to. I mean, and so we have a lot of variability. I think much as we do in the general population, I think it is scary because there are things that are going to make my life more challenging if I'm living with dementia and I have to deal with an emergency. And I may not understand what people need me to do, want me to do, or why. So there's high risk involved in it. And so for some people, the decision, we're going to risk it, we're going to stay here because trying to do anything else is going to be so high risk, I don't know that it's worth it. It's highly variable. I think the most important thing is preparation, like our, pipes. Have you done some preparation? Did you engage the person in it? I mean, are they involved in it? And then if you have to, you seek participation and evaluate. And what I would say most people had not done is a drill.
Just going to ask about licensed facilities. Most of them would, in theory, have a disaster plan. And again, you can't plan for every scenario, can you? But when you're living in a hurricane or storm area, that should be sort of probably near the top of your list right after fire and a few other ones.
Well, it's interesting because they do, but often they rely on the local hospital or a hospital system nearby. So when you have a large disaster or a large area, that has potential to have a disaster, basically you're back to ground zero because your backup plan isn't going to be any more effective than your initial plan of like, well, this is what I would do. I mean, in Western Carolina is for certain an example of that happened so fast and it was not expected in the way it happened, that there weren't any plans that would have, I mean, if you were on the road, you could have been swept away that way. And some people were. And if you were in your house and you were up on the mountain, a landslide took people out. And the water was so forceful and it was so quick, it rose so fast in areas that had never seen that before, that no one anticipated the degree of devastation over the width and breadth and the intensity. So I think that's the recovery that's still going on there. And what we're hearing is that people living with dementia are basically sucking it up and just doing as much as they can as well in an environment that's really very difficult. But we're not hearing of any like exceptional issues that are occurring for that population any more than the rest of the population being frustrated with not having running water for 3 weeks.
If anybody has any questions about disaster preparation, maybe this is one time that we refer them to, what is it, FEMA that you have down there? Or somebody who can do the big overall plan, and then you can give care plans.
Yeah, and I think some care plans is what we're talking about. We actually are going to have shared out some of the things that the folks that were in the meeting that I had shared, so that because they're living with dementia, and they said, here's what's really important to me. One of the things they added, the sound canceling headphones, so I can be in a really busy place, and my face mask, so I can put my eye mask on if I need to chill myself out, and put my music on, and extra batteries. So I mean, they were making a list of things that would help them if they were safe, but they had to stay somewhere. So yeah, Greg, I think this one is a little beyond where we go, although I have certainly made recommendation. Do you have an emergency plan? Do you have data on yourself? Should you be separated from your person? And do you have data somewhere available on your person? Should they be separated from you? And so whether it's a medic alert bracelet, or whether it's dog tag type thing, or whether it's a Apple Watch that could be recharged, I don't know. Lots of opportunities to really look a little bit at how would we relocate one another if we got separated, but also recognizing just getting places could be a challenge, and making sure you have extra supplies in the just in case. So we're
Well, I think
practical, but the big picture, you
we'll
probably
put
need
this
somebody
one in the
besides us.
drawer of to be continued or to be re-examined, because
Yeah,
you can plan all you want, then things go sideways from the plan. So,
yeah. So that ability to really hold yourself in that space of, wow, this is going to be hard. We're going to figure it out. I need to really not be panicky, but thoughtful. So the difference between, oh, Greg, I could use your help. And Greg, you've got to sit down. I mean, any difference for you, Greg?
yeah, let's induce some panic.
Yeah. And so really acknowledging the role I have in this is really to get myself to a place of, with all my discomfort and my concern, I can't telegraph that in a way that makes it scary. So there is work to be done.
Teepa, thank you very much.
Thank you, Greg.
You've been listening to the Dementia Care Partners podcast, brought to you by Positive Approach to Care. For more information on today's program or other dementia topics, go to teepasnow.com.